Welcome to the Money Hour with host Tina Mitchell and co-host Keelan Harvey. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, NMLS 134871. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited. Now, in the studio, local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome to the Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, July 17th virtual show. Because of COVID, our show is temporarily moved virtually, but you can also listen to our podcast or on air on 1150 AM KKNW on Saturday at 3 p.m. and a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events in our local economy and how they can affect your money. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to answer any questions or to connect you with the guests that we have on the show. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And our lineup for today's show, all first-time guests to the Money Hour. Very excited. We have David Jensen, the Jensen Reserve Mortgage Group, PMR. And actually, David is in Keelan and my industry, except he represents a very special space that we do not. So really excited to have him. Survive, Strive, and Thrive for our seniors is our conversation with David today. Also, we have Vicki Draper of Healing Your Animal. Make you and your pet's life easier. And last guest in studio, we have Tennyson Jacobson of Farmers Insurance. What you need to know about your insurance. Great information and great guests in studio. For more information on any topic discussed, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online at themoneyhour.com. And Keelan, let's go ahead and start out today as we do each week with a little money chat.
Money.
What do you got, Keelan?
Well, Tina, I know we've talked about this before, but I wanted to talk about the increase in multiple offers. So something that we saw happen, and it's crazy now. I mean, almost every house that I think we're going in on with my buyers is 6, 10, 15 offers, and it's cruising. And there's a couple good reasons for that. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. So one of them, including myself, one of those reasons is low interest rates. So people out there being smart and want to take full advantage of low interest rates. We've kind of mentioned it and brought it in a couple segments before about the buying power that you get with a lower interest rate out there in the market. And I think it took a while, kind of COVID hit, and there was a little bit of a pause, and everybody wasn't sure what's going to happen, but the housing market in Seattle is going bonkers. So, and the other reason I think it's a combination of low interest rates and then inventory is extremely low. At the end of June, it was 1.16, which is the second lowest that it's been in a decade. The lowest ever was in December 2017, which we also remember. We talked about it on the show, and we've had a lot of agents on our show that were losing their minds over the multiple offer scenarios and the inventory. December 2017, it was 1.12. So by naturally, this is making the home prices increase. And so the median price for last month on the 8,312 homes sold increased by 5.7 compared to a year ago. And a month previously in May, 3.3. So that's kind of shocking, I'm sure, to some people. If you're outside of the market not realizing what's going on with COVID, you think everybody's hunkered down in their living rooms or their house is not doing anything. People are out there moving and buying and taking full advantage of whatever they can. I look at it like a stock. When the stock prices are low, that's when you buy low, sell high. So in Central Puget Sound area, year over year, it rose even more. So King County was actually the lowest, which is kind of shocking to me, but not shocking. I mean, it's really expensive. So maybe that's why it was a little bit less. But at 5.9%, Pierce County rose 8.2%, and Snohomish was up 6.7%. That's my neck of the woods. Whoop, whoop. And 7.7% in Kitsap County. So some of the experts are kind of chiming in, and I quote from Jay Lennox Scott. He's the CEO of John L. Scott. He mentioned a huge increase in home sales for in the first 30 days, which was not the fact previously. It's almost as if the cupboards were bare in the more affordable to mid-price ranges where the majority of sales take place, is what Mr. Scott said. And then our own Matthew Gardner, because I mentioned him, he's been on our radio show. He's awesome. He's the chief Windermere economist, said that what a difference a month makes. What is abundantly clear is that the COVID-19 induced slowing in housing activity that we saw in May was not enough to freeze the Seattle housing market for very long. So the flames are lit. The rocket is taking off. Inventory super, super low out there. I'm seeing it come across my desk on a daily basis. It's a battle to get the homes, especially homes that are in that price range where a lot of people want, kind of that first-time home buyer price range. In Seattle, unfortunately, or in the three major counties, it's like 500 minimum is where that's at. Very, very popular. But you know what? The great news, though, and I'd like to share, is that I haven't had a customer yet that hasn't had found a home. One, and two, I don't know how it works, but every time a home doesn't work out for one of our customers, all of a sudden they find something else, and I swear it was the home that they were supposed to have. It just works out that way. Call it fate, call it karma, call it whatever you believe in, but the one you're supposed to have is out there. So don't get discouraged. Call action for our people. Get out there, get in the game. You can still win homes, and it's the one that you're supposed to have.
Yeah, great information, Keelan. And yeah, that's so true. Same thing. I mean, your home is always out there. So we've said this before in the inventory shortage market is don't give up. Like Keelan says, just keep going out there, making your offers. Yeah, so true. I mean, we're back to waiving appraisal contingencies, which means buyers are willing to pay more than the appraisal might come back at. Risky, you got to make sure you're willing to do that. Waiving finance contingency, which means if you lose your job, you lose your earnest money. Again, you need to be very careful and know what you're doing, but that's what you're having to do. Waiving home inspection or doing pre-inspection. You don't want to not have a home inspection, but they're doing pre-inspections, which means that you are paying for an inspection, even though that out of those 10 offers, you don't know you're going to be the one that gets it. So great information, Keelan. Thank you for bringing that in for Money Chat today. All right, initial job claims for last week was released, showing 1.3 million individuals who filed for unemployment benefits for the first time. This was slightly higher than the expectations. Continuing claims improved significantly from just over 12 million to 17.338 million. But are things really improving? There is also PUA, or Pandemic Unemployment Assistance claims, that are not captured in the headline. And those totaled 928,000 last week. So continuing at PUA claims are now above 15 million, which is significant. Total people receiving some type of benefit is about 32 million, which makes us wonder if the unemployment rate might really be closer to maybe 20%. Now, because of this, it doesn't appear that things are making a meaningful improvement when looking at everyone receiving benefits. There's a developing story on the rental eviction bans that are set to expire next week. Some states are postponing this, but others may not. We're definitely going to keep a close eye on this and share it with you during Money Chat. As many could be without a home. Now, this is also coupled with the additional stimulus checks dropping from $600 a week down to $240 or less. The Aspen Institute reported that out of 110 million people living in rented households, 1/5 of 23 million could be evicted by the end of September. Now, for rent due in August, 31% already know that they probably won't be able to make their mortgage payment. Some people have already received their stimulus checks as direct deposits or checks in the mail. Almost 4 million people will be getting their stimulus payments in the form of prepaid debit cards. Now, the only problem with this is the debit cards come in envelopes that say Money Network Cardhold Services. Don't know why. And it's really easy to confuse it as a credit card offer or they're being thrown away. So if you or someone you know threw out your debit card, just call this number 1-800-240-8100, 1-800-240-8100 and get your debit card. All right, Goldman Sachs had a blowout quarter with earnings per share of $6.26, much higher than the $3.76 expected. Revenue was $3.58 billion, higher than estimates, citing that it was fueled by strong results in its trading and investment banking decisions. Now, President Trump signed a legislation to impose sanctions on China in response to its interference with Hong Kong's autonomy. He also signed an executive order ending the preferential treatment for Hong Kong. They will now be treated as the same as mainland China, meaning that no special privileges, economic treatment, or export of sensitive technologies. Now, on the refinance front, refinances were up 12% last week and are up 107% year over year. Refinances made 64.2% of all applications, which actually that looks at how many of the rest of the applications are purchased, which kind of goes in what Keelan was talking about. Now, the refinances were up from 60.1 last week. The CoreLogic reported that Loan Performance Insight showing that 6.1% of mortgages were 30 days or more delinquent, up from 3.6% last month. Those serious delinquents, which are 90 days or more, remained at 1.2%. Now, homes in foreclosure dropped from 0.4% to 0.3%, but you won't see the longer term effects until later, as the spikes in the 30 days or more will likely translate into more serious delinquents in time. Foreclosures dropped is likely due to forbearance, which has been giving people the lifeline and likely kicking the can down the road just a little bit. Speaking of forbearance, according to the MBA, 8.18% or 4.2 million homeowners are now in foreclosure. This number has improved from the last 4 weeks in a row. And then the Consumer Price Index, CPI, which measures inflation on the consumer level, came in at 0.6% in the month of June. The year-over-year reading increased from 0.1 to 0.6. Gasoline rose 12.3% last month, which was the big reason for the gain. The core reading, which strips out food and energy prices, increased by 0.2% month over month, and the year-over-year reading remained stable at 1.2%. Within the reports, rents are rising 3.2% across the U.S., which is down from 3.5%. And that is your Money Chat. Coming up next on the Money Hour: Survive, Strive, and Thrive for Seniors. David Jensen, the Jensen Reserve Mortgage Group, PMR, right here at 1150 AM, KKNW.
Are you worried about your mortgage payment and your retirement? Is your mortgage payment preventing you from even thinking about retirement? If you're recently widowed, are you being devastated by the widow's tax? David Jensen with the Jensen Reverse Group at PMR helps seniors navigate through retirement and stay in their home. David has helped hundreds achieve retirement independence and peace of mind by staying in their home. He has been in the home mortgage arena for 28 years and is a certified CE instructor for the state of Washington.
To learn more about a HECM reverse loan, call David Jensen with Jensen Reverse Group at 425-260-5080 and receive a short HECM presentation and a HECM proposal for your home and your circumstance, designed just for you. Text or call David at 425-260-5080.
Are you concerned or worried about your pet not feeling or acting their best? Vicki Draper with Healing Your Animal is passionate about helping you and your pets shift from not feeling well to feeling good, bringing relief and joy to you and your precious pet. For over 20 years, Vicki has helped thousands of pets, combining Western, Eastern, and energetic modalities for a well-rounded healing support to get your pet feeling his or her best.
This is Vicki Draper with Healing Your Animal. To schedule your free assessment, I invite you to visit healingyouranimal.com. scroll down and click the assessment link. Again, that is healingyuranimal.com. HealingYouranimal.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, July 17th virtual show. Because of COVID, our show is temporarily moved virtually. You can also listen to us on podcast or on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I am your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
All right. It is a great day to talk about money. That's what the show is all about, how to make money, save money so you can have a better quality of life for you and your family. If you're listening to our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we are here to answer questions or connect you with the amazing guests that we have on the show. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And right now on our show, we have David Jensen, the Jensen Reserve Mortgage Group, PMR, Survive, Strive, and Thrive for Seniors, right here at 1150 AM KKNW. David, welcome for the first time to our show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Likewise, very excited to have you here. And a little bit about David. David of the Jensen Reserve Mortgage Group. David Jensen has been in the mortgage industry for over 25 years. We're both rocking. I've been 25 years. David is over 25 years. I like to say over a quarter of a century. And has a HECM specialist for 5 years. David and his wife, Sally, have raised a large blended family and now enjoy a large group of grandkids that help to keep them young. Currently, David teaches continued education classes for realtors on reverse mortgages. He also teaches classes on starting and growing a business. He has started and successfully grown over a dozen businesses. He started the largest pie company in Washington State. He has started real estate sales companies, been a general contractor and land developer. And David, he loves the outside with his family, helping people to stay in their homes and navigate through their retirement years successfully. And the reason I wanted to bring David into the show today, because he is in the same arena that Keelan and I are in, but he specializes on reverse mortgages, which is a very specialized product. Keelan and I could do reverse mortgages, but unless you do it all the time and it really you're specialized in it, you're not going to be being of service to your clients. And then just meeting David and knowing him and connecting with him, he's really passionate about it. So David, again, we're very excited to have you on the show today. Thank you so much.
Just delighted to be here. Very excited. You guys are doing a great job.
Well, thank you, David. So Survive, Strive, and Thrive for Seniors. I could, see why you would say that, because it's such an important thing that you do. I mean, you could be the difference of making somebody's life after retirement. And for a lot of people, the only way to make a means, quite frankly, to thrive possibly. So let's start with the first part of that, David. You mentioned Survive. Can you tell us what your take is on surviving?
Well, seniors today can have to consider a lot of things besides retirement. It's there are challenges, there are choices, and a lot of changes. So being a senior, they used to say, getting old is not for the faint of heart. And maybe it's because they don't do it till they get older. They've had a little bit more experience. But there are a lot of challenges that happen. There are income restrictions. There are changes in lifestyle, from work to family location, and to sometimes being alone. These are all difficult things for anyone to take care of. Add to that health concerns, and there's emotional ebbs and flows that go through everything that happen. I'm excited to work with seniors and do that because, one, I am one of those. I qualify for these products, but also because I've seen what can happen in the smiles that I've seen with people's faces. I'll never forget one of the first times I met some people doing a reverse mortgage. I sat in their home, and the wife started crying. She says, "I'm going to be able to stay in this home." I'm kind of emotional, those who know me, and yes, you can. So there's a lot of excitement and a lot of energy that goes into reverse mortgages.
Great thing about being on video, because normally we're in studio and we're actually not on video. So this is actually a special space that we've been able to create out of COVID. But I was just going to say, before as soon as you were done chatting, that how I know that David's passionate about, because when he shares his stories, it brings a tear to his eye. And I'm glad that for you guys watching this, you actually saw that space was actually just created. And it's a beautiful thing when you can do what you love to do and you're passionate about how you're serving and helping others. So David, thank you again for that. So David, let's talk about what are the next steps or the steps needed in order to strive?
Well, striving is a result of effort. You make effort to grow and to develop, and that's what striving is about. The process starts striving to take an analysis of where you're at. What are results of past decisions? What are the things that are innate or internal just to you? And we try to find a way to go through and figure out how we can do that. The reverse mortgage is one of the secret sauces in this ingredient. And that's what makes it so fun. We take a look at evaluating, do they want to stay in the home? Are they going to be able to stay in the home? Do they need to have a smaller home? They need to have a home with one level for obvious reasons. Some people have a more difficult time getting around. Many seniors find that they need to change because the kids and the family have moved away. The older days when people used to live close together and they'd stay, we live in a more world economy and people are out living, and sometimes it involves changing. That involves also sometimes bringing the realtors in so they can go through and help them prepare for selling their home and actually helping them to purchase another home. So these are some of the striving things that we have to go through.
Yeah, David, I previously did retirement planning and managed wealth. And unfortunately, I was that guy to provide not great news sometimes. People get this misunderstanding. If I have a couple $100,000 in the bank, I'm good to go for retirement. A lot of times it's the ostrich, they bury their head and not realize the situation until it's way late in life and there's not a whole lot they can do. So what a powerful tool in a way that you can help people and really elevate their retirement. The last piece to your survive, strive, and thrive is the thrive part. And I want to hear more about that. Do you mean like the end result, or what does thriving look like for your customers?
Well, let me say, first of all, with financial advisors, we've had a huge influx of financial advisors that are getting on board with what we're doing. Mm-hmm. It makes their jobs easier and provides a good, as you say, the bad news is there. It's always there. But it's nice to have some good news into the story. And this is part that brings the smiles. The thriving means to me is to grow. Like a flower thrives, a plant thrives. My wife does better than I at that. But thriving means to grow vigorously, luxuriously, to flourish. I like the one luxuriously because that's what we all want to have, is to have a luxurious life and an opportunity to continue growing, continuing to meet new people, do new things, develop new skills. Life doesn't stop because you're getting older. There's just new things and opportunities that are out ahead of you all the time.
Yeah, and David, with any product, whether you're talking about a 30-year fixed rate mortgage when somebody's going to keep their home short time and they should be going with an adjustable rate mortgage, whether you're talking about somebody thinking a 15-year fix is going to be a better option for them when actually they're really close to being able to make that mortgage payment and they've got concerns of what might be coming in the future, so they should be going with the 30-year fix. Every mortgage, even the simple mortgages like fixed rate, you can make a wrong decision that could be devastating for you in results. Reverse mortgage, it's so unique and special, and there's a lot of myths out there about reverse mortgages. It's not the right product for everybody, and it is the best product for people, and they really need it. So how do you deal with these myths out there, David?
Head on. There have been apologies to make, and there have been many, many changes in reverse mortgages in the 20 plus years that they've been around. I think about the story when this fellow I knew, he and his sister were concerned about their mother. She was getting older. Their father, her husband, had passed away recently, and she was living on $1,100 a month. Now, she lived on a golf course and had been a lifetime golfer and a very accomplished golfer, and she was sad because she didn't have the money to do those things. We were able to go keep her in the home, stop the kids from having to worry about her financially. And she was able to go through and put a large amount of money into her bank account. And as her explanation to me, and I'll never forget it, she says, "That's a lot of green fees." So that's what we like.
I like that. I might steal that one. I like green fees. This is good. Tell us
No time for you to golf, Keelan.
I know, right? With my jacked up ACL knee, but I'll heal eventually, and I'll collect some green fees. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. David, can you talk to us specifically about the benefits of the reverse mortgage? And I know there are many, but address our listeners on some of the benefits that you see.
There are a lot of benefits. It would take a long, long time. The benefits range from not having to make a mortgage payment, from going through and having some security and independence, not having to be a drain upon their children. Sometimes it's a benefit for people who may own their home, but they're worried about having at bad times to draw into their 401k or their IRA. And sometimes that golden goose that's laid the retirement egg, if it's dipped into on the bad times, you can pay a big price. That's called the risk of adverse market conditions. And so that's one of the things that you have to worry about.
So David, Great Recession, in 2007, 2000 through 2010, there obviously was huge property value decreases. What happens if somebody has a reverse mortgage and then their property value drops?
Let me give you a great story for that one. Thank you. And I know we're running out of time, but the reverse story, good story was from this gentleman that I met. His father had passed away. He'd bought a home in the Bellevue area and paid cash for it, about $500,000. Several years after that, he didn't take any money out of it. He had a line of credit, and the line of credit develops and grows. So he went through and he called his family together about 2007, just around actually 2008. And he called me and said, "I've got some bad news. I've got cancer and the doctor's given me 2 months to live, but I've got a solution for you, and I've written you a check." His $300,000 had grown to $386,000. He owed nothing, but he had $386,000 against a home that was only worth $300,000. When he died, after they parted, had a farewell, the $386,000 was allowing them to buy their home. Fannie Mae, FHA, HUD goes through and allows the heirs to buy the home at 95% of the lower value. They bought the home, had it free and clear, had another $100,000 sitting in the bank. It was a happy solution.
Wow, that's a great solution. And that's a great way to end our time with you, David, with a great story. Thank you so much again for being here with us in studio, and look forward to definitely having you back.
Thank you.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, make you and your pet's life easier. Vicki Draper of Healing Your Animal, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
Are you concerned or worried about your pet not feeling or acting their best? Vicki Draper with Healing Your Animal is passionate about helping you and your pets shift from not feeling well to feeling good, bringing relief and joy to you and your precious pet. For over 20 years, Vicki has helped thousands of pets, combining Western, Eastern, and energetic modalities for a well-rounded healing support to get your pet feeling his or her best.
This is Vicki Draper with Healing Your Animal. To schedule your free assessment, I invite you to visit healingyouranimal.com. Scroll down and click the assessment link. Again, that is healingyouranimal.com. healingyouranimal.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
And you are listening to The Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, July 17th virtual show. Because of COVID, our show is temporarily moved virtually. You can listen to us on podcast and catch us on air on 1150 AM KKNW, Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We are here to help you build a strong financial blueprint, 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to connect you with the guests that we have on the show. You can call at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, we have Vicki Draper of Healing Your Animal. Make you and your pet's life easier, right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Vicki, another first-time guest today. We have all newbies here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
And a little bit about Vicki. Vicki is a highly regarded modern day animal healer and author who supports families and animals with health, harmony, and ease, addressing wellness during every stage of an animal's life. With her skill set, she serves people locally and nationally and internationally. A natural-born animal communicator, Vicki's qualifications as a healer for both people and animals includes being a licensed massage therapist, a certified acupuncturist, Reiki master teacher, and training in therapy. Well, we'll get back to that word. She is a
I love it. Good shot, Tina. You went for it. I love it.
Yeah. She's a creator of Emir and Healing Your Animal Natural Healing Essence, available in her classes, stores, and online. And actually, Vicki, before Keelan chimes in with your first question, Keelan, I was actually just with Susan, a very close friend and a close business partner, Keelan knows, doing my every other week canasta game. And Vicki, I'm going to do an email introduction once we're off show here to you. She just found out that her little dog, Rory, went in for cancer, and he's young. He's like 6 years old. They don't know what stage it is right now, but she definitely needs your services. So I just had that conversation with her. So yeah, really excited to have you here, Vicki.
Oh, great, thank you. Happy to help.
I'm excited too. So that makes me look really bad, Tina, because I was just going to talk about how my 1-year-old Bosnian rescue dog got fixed, and that is not nearly as serious as the cancer story. But to me, it's a tragedy. This dog's running around with a cone, and he's miserable, the cone of shame. And but he's healing. It's all good. We love him, and he's going to get better soon. But maybe we need to send your vibes. But explain a little bit about how you make life easier.
Well, your pets can't talk to you as you understand them, at least most people. And then it's frustrating. And so I make life easier because I'm able to understand your pet. And I'm able to understand you, and I get the two of you connected and on the same page, because so much frustration and so much acting out for the animal's part, which some people label bad behavior, and it's just like, well, that's the animal behaving. They're just reacting to what's going on, and then that's easily, we can solve that when we get to the root of why and what's going on, and then you both live in peace and harmony.
So Vicki, since you've been doing this for 20 years, how does animal communication work? And does it make sense to come see you if your animal is totally fine? You just want to see, maybe you think he's fine. There's no behavioral issues, but let's talk about how it works.
Okay. Well, animal communication is one facet of what I do. I'm a natural born healer, and as you've heard, I've had training in multiple modalities. So I bring that to the forefront too. So my skill is in communicating. I'm not only able to communicate and understand, I can understand your animal's body. So when there's serious things like cancer, or even not as serious things like a surgery, well, a neutering is not as serious. The spaying is a little bit more serious. It doesn't matter. And even if it's just for wellness, that we keep the body in balance. And so, yes, people that have well animals, or they think they're well, just like you tune up your car with oil and you put gas in it, that's what a healing session with me is like, because it just keeps the body in its optimal shape. And
that's
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that's really, really cool, because it is frustrating, because you have no idea what's going on in this pet's mind. He's running around the house with a cone on, and he's clearly frustrated. We can't do anything about it, because otherwise he's going to get after his little wounds and things. So you just got to kind of stick through it. So that'd be really cool. I'm going to have to definitely get in contact with you after for not only that, But the other thing is I just bought a house and in Monroe out here, he's got plenty of land and such. But I would imagine that also could affect his mindset. You know, it's a new environment, a new space. And then he just got his boys cut off, if I could say that. And so he's not a happy dog right now. So what can you give me as far as advice, or anybody else out there who's had the moving process happen with a pet, and then, you know, I have another layer on top of that, so I might need extra help?
Okay, well, the moving process, I help a lot of people with this because your pets don't know. You know what's going on. Their whole life is uprooted with all the boxes, all the packing, all the stress, and you're like, oh, got all these to-dos and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they're not really included in that. They're just in the whirlwind going, something's wrong. And I even found that out with my own cat because I had moved, in my number of years living, I have moved multiple times, and I had a cat with me, Tasha, that lived over 19 years. So she was with me for multiple moves. And one move, she was just particularly not acting herself. And I'm like, what is going on? So I'm too close to it. So I call my friend who's an animal communicator. And she said, well, Tasha doesn't know she's going with you. And I'm like, what? Of course she's going with me, but I hadn't specifically told her. So once I told her, her whole demeanor shifted. I mean, and so why this move she didn't know, I don't know, but our animals are very literal, and just that simple piece. So share with them in pictures. That's the most common way.
Yeah.
What's happening, what you want to do.
So it sounds like we've actually have 3 introductions here. Susan's going to definitely call you out, or call you. Keelan's going to call you, and I am. We have an 18-year-old Shih Tzu that is blind and can't hear, but he seems really happy. But I want to take him and I want to find out if he really is, because as a first-time dog owner, 18-year first-time dog owner, I know at some point in time we're going to have to put him down, and I want to make sure when we do, it's the right time. And so we've got 3 people that are going to meet up with you, Vicki. So if moving affects, if moving affects your animal, what about when you go on vacation?
That's very similar, because your animals, again, don't know what's going on. They know you're bringing out the suitcase. They know you're kind of stressed because you're trying to get all the details worked out, and they're just like, well, I don't know what's going on. And so when we share with them what's going on, as simple as the details, I'm leaving in 3 days, I'm going to be gone for 7, and I'll be back. The key is showing them you're going to be back, because they don't know. They just know. And then I'll give you the tip on an easy way to communicate that with your pets is they don't know days like we do, but they know lights and darks. So sunrises, sunsets. So you can show them in blinks the number of days, and then you show them leaving the house with your suitcase, and then you show them the number of days you're gone, and then you show them coming back in the door with your suitcase. And once they really know that, it's amazing how they settle, because it's like, okay, cool, I know the plan.
Wow, that is going to totally bring me to tears, because as we're talking here, whenever we go on vacation, Harley never goes under the bed. He sees the suitcases, he's under the bed. When he comes with us, because we have someone take us to the airport, or if Dave's dropping me off for a trip, Harley's there. He always, his tail starts to go down. He recognizes that we're actually heading into the airport. It is crazy. So being able to communicate and share how to make that experience better, and knowing that we're going to come back, I love it.
Yeah. And if the guardian is too stressed to do that, then that's where I come in. I can clearly communicate that, and then it just helps take that pressure off of you going on vacation, and then the animals are just so relieved, so you know that they're going to be comfortable while you're gone.
That is unbelievable. Pets understand a lot more than I thought they do. You know how smart they are, but you don't realize of how much they can retain because we don't speak their language. So that's really interesting to hear. And I understand, Vicki, that you work with pets in other countries and states and that type of thing. Elaborate on how that works.
Okay. Well, energy in physics doesn't know time or space. So I can connect with your pet in another state, another country, as if we're in the same room. And they're responding. So used to be, I've been doing this for 20 years, we'd be on the phone. Well, now we can be on Zoom or FaceTime. And I'm working with the pet, and the pet is, I'll say, here's what's happening, here's what's moving, here's what's clearing. And the pet will be doing something at that time. And so the person can see it happening firsthand, what's going on. And so it can even work with serious conditions. I had Samson, 8-year-old Cocker Spaniel that had fallen off the bed in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and gotten paralyzed. And they'd already been to the vet and acupuncture and nothing. No noticeable results. And so they came to me out of desperation, and within 5 minutes, right after the session, they were taking Samson out to go potty. And at that time, they'd been having to hold him up. He actually stood on his own. And so we were able to get him back to full mobility.
Wow.
And that being in a different country.
Yeah, Vicki, we've got less than a minute. Just very quickly, what is a tip to communicate with your pet as we're wrapping up with you today?
What does it take? I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, what is one tip to communicate with your pet?
Oh, well, that was the blinks or the pictures.
Oh, the blinks. Okay, perfect. So a shout out for call to action and being a better pet owner as we wrap up our time here with you, Vicki.
I offer a free assessment for people wanting to know if this will work for them or their particular situation. So I invite you to visit my website, www.healingyouranimal.com, and just scroll down and it'll say, schedule your assessment.
Perfect. Vicki, thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's a real pleasure to have you, and what a great service that you're doing to pet owners that love their pets just like they love their children. So thank you, Vicki.
Oh, it's my passion.
And coming up next in the Money Hour, what you need to know about insurance. Tennyson Jacobson of Farmers Insurance, right here at 11:06 a.m. KKNW.
Do you have a personal insurance agent who checks in with you and makes sure you understand your coverage and keeps everything up to date? Tennyson Jacobson with Farmers Insurance has assisted individuals and families just like yours in making sure they understand the value of having a personal agent and how they can make sure the most important things in your life, including you, are protected. Tennyson has helped so many, just like Stephen, who says,
Tennyson was one of the most responsive and patient insurance agents I've ever dealt with. She was able to get me the most discounts and triple the coverage I had previously at the same price. Highly recommend to contact her just for information and to compare quotes.
Hi, this is Tennyson Jacobson with Farmers Insurance, and I would love to be a resource for you for any questions related to insurance. You can reach me at 425-888-0553, or you can also shoot me an email at tjacobson@farmersagent.com or through Instagram, which is @JacobsonAgency. Thanks so much.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
And you're listening to The Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, July 17th virtual show. Because of COVID, our show is temporarily moved virtually. You can listen to us on podcast or on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We bring in studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market regarding everything on your money. We're here to help you in today's economy. And now in studio, we have Tennyson Jacobson of Farmers Insurance. What you need to know about your insurance right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Tennyson, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. And I think Vicki will have a fourth person because I've got questions for you too.
Boy, doesn't that tell you how much her services are in need and how much we love our pets? We're like, oh my gosh, yes, we need to talk to Vicki. So Vicki, put in the chat bar for all of us here right now in that website again. So at least internally, we've got that because you've got a lot of connections coming. All right, so a little bit about Tennyson. Tennyson is a Farmers Insurance agent who has an office in Snoqualmie. prior to getting into insurance, her and her husband were founders and operators of Cascade CrossFit for 8 years in Issaquah, where they built one of the better known CrossFit gyms in Washington State that was all about community and serving others. Tennyson brought her strengths and passions for taking care of people, educating clients, and being approachable to transition to insurance, which in 2 short years has brought her to be one of the top farmers agents in the state. Again, we bring in the best of the best here on the Money Hour. Her husband's a fireman for Kirkland Fire Department, and they have 2 young kids, Lila and Skylar.
Tennyson, I love your name, by the way. Being brought up as Keelan, you get used to everybody screwing it up. I just respond now like to Keegans, Keenans, anything that sounds like it. But now that I'm older, I love a unique name, and I'm sure you do too. Let's talk about your story a little bit. How did you become an insurance agent?
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I totally relate on the unique name. It is its point. So when, I think when it comes to insurance, nobody is growing up thinking, I dream of becoming an insurance agent. So most people you'll talk to, they somehow found themselves there. So yeah, when my husband and I owned Cascade CrossFit, one of our members there, he ended up becoming our mentor, and he is a district manager for Farmers Insurance. So a lot of years he was our mentor, helping us, and eventually he was like, you know what, we need to chat. You need to buy an agency, you need to do this. And I just thought, what the heck, insurance? I don't know. But yeah, long story short, it ended up being just such an awesome thing, and love it. So happy.
Well, as your mentor saw how successful you and your husband were, what you already accomplished, once successful in something, you're going to be successful in a new venture as well. So then why did you do insurance, and what do you love about it now, Tennyson? Because obviously you love it since you're in the top of your space.
Yeah, I honestly, when the opportunity came, I was like I said, insurance, I kind of saw it as this unethical thing for whatever reason. And so I just kept being like, I don't want to do that. But now hopping into it, I decided to dive in. And what I love about it, it's actually so similar to what we did with the gym. It's about educating people. It's about helping people. So I love having conversations about insurance. Like 9 out of 10 people I talk to have no idea what their insurance is. No, the person helping them has never explained it, or if it's a bigger company, they've never learned about their insurance. So I love having a unique, simple, moment where we can go through it, help educate them, and then really make sure they understand how it's protecting them, because it truly is one of the most important parts to protect your life, your home, your family. So I love that.
Yeah, Tennyson, when I was doing financial planning, I totally can relate to you on people's concept of things and their preconceived notions. I did life insurance, and they're like, oh, death insurance. No, it's awful. But foundationally, insurance is extremely important. You can't build a house unless you have a strong foundation. That was one of the things we used to talk about. And that's one of the first things you should do on top of emergency savings. Make sure that everything is insured. And guess what? They love life insurance, or they love insurance when tragedy strikes their house, and they have that there for them. So it's a huge, very extremely valuable service that you help people with, and especially educating them, because people are like, oh, I need insurance. Great. How much is it? Cheapest insurance ever. And then you go through something and it's awful. So let's talk a little bit about who you actually work with. Who do you prefer to work with? Do you have a target market? Who is your typical client?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, being with farmers, we do everything, but I definitely tend to work more with first-time home buyers. And reason being, most of them, you get your insurance when you're young, you get set up, and then you get it from a big company and you have no idea. And then you purchase a home, and now we're establishing everything. So I really love those conversations with, first-time home buyers, where it's like, okay, we're getting this set up, but also when you're purchasing a home, we need to look at your car insurance, because your car insurance actually protects your beautiful new asset. And so kind of looking at everything as a picture and then really establishing a baseline. So that's been really fun for me. Of course, helped tons of people, but it's been a fun thing to have conversations, because those people tend to they've just never went through it before. So.
Yeah, that's what a great agent does, really look at the whole picture. So since Kayla and I, we do a lot of mortgages, which is working with homes, what is the most important thing regarding home insurance?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So I think most people think they can just go get a quote. It's going to be the same, wherever. And there is going to be a lot of that. But there's a lot of things that aren't covered on home insurance that people have no idea. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing. Like being in our area, a lot of people have no idea that earthquake isn't going to be covered. Or if you have any like sewer backup, which is a nasty claim and happens more often than you can imagine, that's not going to be covered. So I think taking 30 minutes, 15 minutes to review with your agent, hey, am I covered for this? Am I not covered for this? Like, what are your biggest fears? And then making sure that's protected. And when I got into insurance, I took over an agency that had been around for a long time. And when we started really diving in and meeting with clients, a lot of them were really underinsured. So say, we're insuring their home for $200,000. Well, now it costs really $400,000 to rebuild it. That's a massive gap if you haven't taken a look at your insurance for a while. So I think that's also another thing is, are we really insuring it to its current value and needs?
I was going to say, it just goes to show you as a professional, you obviously care about people and making sure you're doing the right thing for them as far as coverage. I think one thing people kind of misunderstand is insurance is super cheap. Like in the retrospect of what can happen in your life. So, I mean, for a couple extra bucks, especially home insurance, for a couple extra bucks, you can really cover yourself and, sleep well at night, knowing that you have adequate coverage, as opposed to the, I referred to the old head in the sand ostrich thing, like hear no evil, see no evil. And you guys got to be, eyes open and know what's going on in your world. May that be, retirement planning, your insurance and all that. So, moving on to auto insurance. I'm a car guy, love cars. What do you think is the biggest thing people don't know about car insurance or auto insurance?
Yeah. So again, people get their policies set up and they have no idea really how they're structured. And again, I don't blame that on them. I put that, it's not really your responsibility. It's my responsibility as your agent to help you understand that. But I would say most people, when we think about car insurance, you think, yeah, I've got full coverage. Full coverage meaning, if your car is actually damaged, that it's covered. My interpretation of full coverage is a bit different. So the main part of your auto policy is called liability. So if you cause an accident and you hurt somebody, heaven forbid the worst, you kill somebody, you can now, and probably will, be sued. You can have full coverage on your car as far as the car's, getting fixed. But if you have low limits, which again, I review insurance all the time, obviously, most people do. I want you to be able to come to me in that situation and have complete peace of mind. Like, I know my limits, they're good. But unfortunately, most people don't really understand how that part of their policy works and the importance of it. So I think just understanding what full coverage means and, if you're really protected properly there.
Yeah, great advice, Tennyson. And as we're wrapping up our time with about a minute left, let's end it with misconceptions on life insurance.
Oh, yeah. Life insurance. Oh, my gosh. Like Keelan said, it's just, I think people put it off because, it seems like a hassle. But when you're working with a lot of older people now, the one thing I hear time and time again is, oh, I wish I would have gotten life insurance. And so it's a lot less expensive than what people think. It's better to get it when you're young and healthy. Your health can change. I was working with a doctor a few months ago. He's in his mid-30s. A policy would have cost him maybe $30, $40 a month. He unfortunately got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. you'd have no idea. And now he's looking at a policy that's going to cost him $300 to $400. So it's better when you're young and healthy to just get something set up. It's really not that much of a hassle. It's just, maybe an hour of your time to really remember it's for your family. It's not for you. It's for your family. And so, putting that on your to-do list and putting it at the top of your to-do list.
Yeah, great advice, Tennyson. And so for our listeners out there, call to action. Yeah, if you don't have life insurance, reach out to the show. We'll get connected with Tennyson. And for all of our guests, you can call the show 855-400-1150 or go online at themoneyhour.com for the amazing guests that we have. Thank you to each of you again for being here.
Thank you so much.
And I am your host, signing off for the day, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey. If I could say that correctly.
We are your local.
That just came off weird.
Oh, this is going to sound good on radio this week around. We are your local mortgage experts signing off for the day. And yeah, make sure if you're laughing at the show today, stay focused on the road if you're listening to us on podcast while you're driving. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We look forward to sharing more about money next week, same time, same place, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, NMLS 134871. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited.